Hey, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another edition of the Phoenix Phenomenon, where we have a chat to inspirational people who are doing amazing things in their lives and also uncovering a lot about the journey that they took to get to where they are today. So joining me today, probably one of the most inspirational people that you could imagine, is Kurek Ashley. Former American actor and now speaker, author, self-development and spiritual growth coach for the past 30 years. He has been dubbed the transformer for his ability to make lasting change in the lives of so many people that he's worked with over the years, and has also founded the Life Success Club. Now, I need to put a disclaimer out there. I do have a bit of a cold right now and I am a bit croaky, so I apologise to everyone who's watching today, but we're soldiering on. Welcome, Kurek, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me, and croaky is better than cranky.
Yeah, that's right. This is very right. So I do also need to mention that Kurek's book, goodness me, this is terrible.
How would love respond?
How would love respond? Excellent. Coming up to an anniversary now, I believe. Is it 10 years?
It's 10 years. It's been a #1 bestseller, and it's an honor. And you know, the thing when you write a book, you hope that it will have an impact, that it will, people will read it. #1 is one of those things, and then that it will have an impact. And for I have a testimonial from Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy and New York Times bestsellers, but really every day I hear from somebody, numerous people talking about how the book made an effect on their life and changed their life. It's the best feeling ever, and that's really why I wrote it. And here it is, 10 years, and I'm still going strong. So it's beyond my wildest dream.
Yeah, and so when you first decided to put pen to paper, metaphorically speaking, 10 years ago, did you imagine that it would have such longevity and continue to remain relevant to so many people this far down the track?
Well, it's actually more than 10 years ago, because it was before that I tried to write 2 other books, but wrote myself into a corner because I didn't really know what I was doing. I just wrote everything I could until pretty soon I couldn't figure out how to finish it or where to go with it. So both of those books I quit, but I woke up one day and realized I don't want to die with my music still in me. So I hired a wordsmith to teach me how to structure what I was thinking. And then I also learned about publicity and promotion and publishing and all those other things because I knew that was all important. I thought it was going to take me 3 or 4 months to get the book done because I do over 100 presentations in 17 countries around the world. I just figured, say it, write it down, boom, you have a book. But found out very quickly that the spoken word and the written word aren't actually the same thing.
Yeah.
As pausing and tonality and gestures and all that stuff. But as an author, you can't leave a long blank space and say that's a dramatic pause because your editor goes, you're an idiot, that's out of here. So it took me 4 years to get the book out. Then within 4 hours of being released, it took #1 on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, hit 15 bestsellers list. 30 days later, hit another 10 bestsellers list. It wasn't just that it was a fluke. It was that it was a marketing strategy, a marketing campaign that I learned throughout those 4 years of writing. And then to keep it going again is a skill set. It's not luck. It's not just, oh God, everybody loves a book. You have to keep energy behind it to keep it going. And so, yes, I expected it to do great. That's only because most people in life, they wish really big, but they expect very little. In life, if you raise your expectations, you'll live up to your expectations, and that's where your results will be.
Absolutely. And tell me a bit more about the journey that you got on to, I guess, reach the path that you're at now. I mean, going through a lot of the interviews you've done over the years, you seem to have literally experienced most of the highs and lows that a lot of us experience in life, maybe one of them, and you've kind of run the gamut yourself in your lifetime. So can you take me back to, I guess, the beginning of the journey for you and how it has all transpired? I believe it started out with acting or getting into the acting realm. Is that correct?
Well, I think the Creator gives me so many adventures in my life just so I have more seminar content. But I guess it could, my mom was married 4 times. My dad was married 3 times. Stepdad was married 4 times. So I guess it could always start there. I have 5 brothers and a sister. They never, I was always the weird one. So I was kind of always outcast. So childhood was kind of, I guess you could say, lonely, but see, all those things, they helped me forge who I became. And, if it was really easy at home, but I decided at 12 years old, I wanted to be an actor. I lied about my age. I got on stage in Chicago, and then followed through with it. And then 18 years old, left for Hollywood, and started working in the movie industry. I think the story you're talking about, though, is in 1989, I was doing a Chuck Norris movie. I just finished the movie Lock Up with Sylvester Stallone. So here I'm working with 2 of my icon heroes, and while in the Philippines during Delta Force 2, I was in a helicopter crash where 5 of my friends died, and my best friend was 29 years old when he died in my arms on the way to the hospital. And, for 2.5 years, I had a gun in my mouth every night and drugs up my nose and smoking cigarettes and booze and partying. I was just trying to kill myself. Thank God I'm not a success at everything in life. And then, decided that, I'm done. I can't keep going this direction because there's so many other people that it's affecting. And so literally unscrewed a broom pole out of a broom and held it over my head like a samurai warrior and cut a line in the sand. And I said, once I step over the line, I'm done. And I gave up cocaine. I gave up cigarettes. I gave up alcohol abuse. I gave all my guns away, not to just people wandering down the street. I gave them away to gun collector friends of mine and literally made a decision to change my life. And my life since that moment is a byproduct of making that decision.
Absolutely. And I guess what was the catalyst for that? Because, when you are dealing with things like, drugs and alcohol, it is like a downward spiral, and it can, it is an addiction, and it can really be all consuming. So what was there a particular trigger or something that I guess gave you that moment of clarity to make that change?
I woke up one day and I had a new thought, and the new thought was that your life's not your own, that there's people who love and care about you, and there's people who look up to you. Some of them you don't even know about, or it could be the checkout person at the grocery store that you're nice to, you have no idea how dark their life is, and that because you're nice to them, it made an impact on them to not kill themselves or not do something else. And I thought about that, and I thought, this can't be my legacy, that I was a person with so much promise, but then wound up just another sad statistic about somebody who threw it all away. And so I decided at that point, that instead of people helping you up, you're actually dragging them down, because negative energy is a heavier, denser energy than positive energy is. And so, it was time to turn it around. And one of the things is that I didn't die in a helicopter crash. So maybe the Creator has a purpose for me, and I might want to start living that purpose.
Right. Okay. And so I guess before the crash and before all of that happened, were you already, I guess, a spiritually inclined person, or was that a part of your journey of discovery once you made that decision to step over the broomstick?
Yeah, I was. It's just not at the level I am. The thing is, the helicopter crash, the way I describe it is, it was like ripping my Superman cape off me, because all of a sudden I found out that I was much more mortal, and that things could happen. I thought I was bulletproof before that, and, kind of survived everything I went through and, unscathed. And then here, my whole world got turned upside down. It made me search for answers, but that's life. See, it's the challenges of life that give our life value, because they force you into growth. They force you into what's called perturbation to become a bigger, better person. And I believe that the Creator would never give me a challenge I couldn't handle, and that the rewards are always in proportions to the test. So nowadays, I'm like, bring it on, man. If you're going to test me, bring it on, because I know it comes on the other side of this, because it's going to force me into growth. But that was part of that lesson that came out of that, is that, I was already into personal development. I'd already been reading and studying and goals and all those things, but it forced me into a much higher level at all that stuff, because I needed it to turn my life around.
Absolutely, absolutely. And can you take me back to those days where you were, you've just suffered a tremendous loss. So was it 4 or 5 people that were lost?
5 friends.
Yeah. And then of course the depression that comes with that, trying to deal with such a significant loss. Take me back to those days. How soon after that did you find yourself, looking to the external sources of, the drugs, the alcohol to numb the pain?
Almost immediately. It's, in the Philippines, before we left, it turns out that I don't remember it, but I was laying in the lobby of the 5-star hotel we were staying at, literally in the fetal position, crying in the middle of the lobby, and stunt guys had to pick me up and bring me to my room. One time I got drunk, and it was in the middle of a cyclone, like a very intense cyclone, and I was walking down the main street in blue jeans and a t-shirt and cowboy boots, yelling things out at people, trying to start fights with people, until Chuck Norris's brother, who's the director of the movie, Aaron Norris, pulled up in a taxi, rolled down the window and said, "Get in the car, Kurek, and you're now on 24-hour watch." And so I had to stay. He had a suite hotel room, so I had to sleep on the couch in his hotel room until we finally headed back. So it was almost immediate, because it was so devastating, and I felt so much like a failure that I couldn't save my friends' lives, and that all the stuff that I went through and the horrors that I saw, it was like, it was horrific. Mike was on fire when I carried him out. Yeah, so, things that you see and experience, but it's, and it just got darker and darker, because again, the more you allow yourself to get down, and then, by the way, alcohol and stuff is the depressant, literally get you farther and farther down. The more down you go, the worse it can get. So that's why you have to draw a line in the sand and say, I'm done. This is it. No more, never again, nothing, out. And if you don't do that, it's like being buried neck deep in dog poo. You've been in it so long, you're convincing yourself it doesn't stink. But you have to pull the nose plugs on and go, this stinks, I'm done. And that's that moment of change, is when you finally draw that line in the sand. I just did it, for real. Yeah. But it was very metaphoric as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think that was a big thing for you as well, to physically just, to do that in your backyard, and to just, how important was that for you, I guess, for moving forward?
It was real. I mean, it's like, hey, let's do it. And, it was like having a ceremony where you're saying, that's it. And I'm going to live up to this ceremony now. And I'm making a testament to the universe right now that this is who I'm going to be. And yeah. And, the funny thing is, I study Aikido now. I've been training in Aikido for the last 10 years. And Aikido is based in the samurai. So I do weapons training and sword training and all that stuff, as well as Aikido itself. And it's very, very metaphoric. So it's always been kind of a part of my life. The reason Aikido is attracted to me, or I've attracted to Aikido, I should say, is that AI means to be in harmony with. Ki is energy. Tao means the way or the path. To be in harmony with energy is a way of life. And so even back then, that metaphoric cutting that line in the sand and doing it was me harmonizing with it, and then going to redirect it.
Excellent. That's great. And, can you tell me a bit about, I guess, you would have had to go through a recovery of some sort, to get back on the right path after jumping over that broomstick. Can you take us through what that looked like for you, and how long the process took for you until you felt like you were healed?
Sure. Well, I didn't jump over a broomstick. I cut a line in the sand like a samurai, like I used a broomstick as my sword. But the thing is that after doing that and giving up the drugs and the alcohol, those things, you're still dealing with the crash. You're still dealing with the loss of your friends. Life didn't instantaneously change.
Yeah.
But that's when, I decided, okay, all this time that I've been wasting on being drunk and stoned and the rest of those things, is if I start reading my goals and I start exercising, and, every morning because I get up in the dark hours of the morning, usually with flashbacks and nightmares and stuff. And I'd take a walk and stop in the park and do some push-ups and pull-ups, because motion creates emotion. It will get you to start feeling better. And then what you got to do is you got to celebrate. So celebrate everything you're doing approximately right. Quit all the criticism and start celebrating. Well, because of that, you start to feel just a little bit better. But that's the difference between first and fourth at the Olympics, is 1/100th of a second difference. So that little bit is bigger than you think. So I started celebrating that. And then, you're going, wow, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. And you celebrate it. And then I feel a little better. And then one day you wake up and you're like, wow, I actually feel good. And you keep celebrating, you keep doing it. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling awesome. And then all of a sudden there's a change where, man, you're on the other side of it. And, you just keep taking off. But what happens for a lot of people, once they start to feel great, they stop doing the activities that got them to feel great, and they start to feel bad again. Instead, for me, it's just been staying in that journey, because most people overestimate what they can do in the short term, but underestimate what you can do in a long, consistent term.
Absolutely.
So stay on the path.
Yeah, and I guess, even someone like yourself who has been, on the up and up for as long as you have there ever been, I guess, any temptations to take the foot off the accelerator and how do you work through that to keep on your path?
Oh, well, look, I've been through 2 very expensive divorces, both great people, not obviously people I'm supposed to be married to for the rest of my life. One of them is the son of my mom, and I think the mom of my son. That would sound better. One of them is the mom of my son, and we're still great friends. We're great parents. But one of the things I found through those 2 marriages that I was the common denominator. So they weren't married to each other. So I had to work on myself again, and now I'm married to the woman of my dreams, my best friend, Erin. It took me to grow to be a better person, to finally meet somebody like Erin and marry her. So it's always about evolution, about working on yourself. But I'm a real guy, like life still happens. Just because I've been in a helicopter crash doesn't mean you're immune to problems or catastrophes or whatever. One of the things it's taught me, though, is that life can kick you really hard. You don't have to be a bad person to have life kick you. So any day that life's not kicking you, don't look for reasons to get kicked. Don't find reason to feel upset. Don't look for reasons to be pissed off. Look for reasons to feel good. Look for reasons to be happy. Look to be more loving. You look for it, you'll find it. But that still doesn't make you immune. But what it will do is attract a better quality of life to you, obviously, when everything is going great. And then when it's challenging, that it will give you that strength to be able to brush yourself off and pick yourself back up and keep on your journey, because that's life. And by the way, as a soul, I came down here to experience life, not just the fluffy, happy parts, all of it, because that's why we go to sad movies or we go to scary movies, because we want to feel it all. And my life, most people say that God, like 10 lifetimes in one life. That's because I'm here to live. I'm here to pull all the stops out and do it. And, here I'm in my late 50s. I still train in Aikido, and I get thrown around a lot, and sometimes you're sore, and it doesn't, it's in martial arts. It's not arts and crafts.
Yeah, that's
but
it.
I get thrown hard on the ground. I get up smiling. They said, man, you can't be beat, man. Like, as hard as you get thrown, you get up smiling even bigger. I go, because I'm still standing. Unless I'm done, unless I'm dead, I haven't peaked yet. And so keep putting the pressure forward, the positive pressure on yourself to keep living, and you'll live. And just wake up every day and try to make this your masterpiece. Make this the best that you've ever lived. And look, if something goes south, deal with it, brush yourself off, and keep going on your path.
Absolutely. And so for some of us who are, still, I guess, yet to find the way to turn any negative into a positive, and it sounds like looking in past interviews, even when your parents passed, you were able to find, the positive, having the last conversation with them, being able to say goodbye. It's incredible that you can find, I guess, a positive in everything, and anyone can do that. But I guess what is the key steps for people to start on that journey themselves?
It's one question, which is, what's great about this? You know, what's great about the helicopter crash? Well, you know, it's a strange question when you think about it, but what is great about it? Well, at least I had 5 friends to lose. Some people have nobody, you know. At least Mike died in my arms, not in a stranger's arms. At least the care to save everybody was given to those people, because I can guarantee that I was one of those people doing that, as well as watching many other people doing that. I saved 2 people's lives that day. But, you know, when you get caught up in your drama, you forget to mention the good stuff. You know, I lived. That's another good thing. So what's great about passing my parents? Well, first, my dad died when I was 44, not 14 or 4 months. I had a great relationship with my dad. He didn't suffer from the cancer that he had. He went easy, died in his sleep. You know, we can look for those things by asking for it. I'm not a religious person, yet it's biblical. Ask and it will be given. So, you know, you ask good questions, you get good answers. You ask bad questions, you get bad answers. So what's great about this will change your focus from the negative side of it to the positive side. And by the way, everything has opposite sides to it. Look for the positive, you'll find the positive.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big mindset shift, really, isn't it? It's so much easier to gravitate towards the negative and to have a bit of a whinge, isn't it? So
I don't know. I think the suffering isn't that easy. I think people just get used to it, or feel helpless that they can't change it. The thing is, it's just as much energy to find the positive as it is to find the negative, but the positive feels good, the negative feels bad. So my training has just said, go for what feels great, go for what feels great. And look, we're all going to die anyways. And the purpose of our life, people are always searching for their purpose. Well, that's easy. Enjoy your life. That's the purpose of your life, is to enjoy it. Make it the best you can. And if you do that at the end of this lifetime, you'll realize you won. If you don't, you're going to have to come back and do it all over again, and you're going to go through all the same problems and the trials and tribulations until finally you get it right. I finally figured it out. Just, you know, look, my wife, my kids, my own self, it's all borrowed. You got to give it all back. The only thing you get to keep is the love you gave, the love you received, and the experiences your soul got to have. So love your experiences, no matter what they are, and you get to keep them and take them with you. It's not the tangible part of it, but the essence of it.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I love that. Excellent. So tell me, you mentioned your training as well. So obviously you've been on quite a huge journey of self-development and discovery along the way. Now tell me, I guess, once you were past the depression stage and looking to the next stage of your life, how soon after that was it that you connected with Tony Robbins, or was there another step before that set you on that path?
Oh, I've been doing personal development since I was in high school. It's just that Tony, you know, I read Tony's book in 1984 when it first came out, when Tony used to put 20 people in his house for workshops in those days, you know, 1984. Then, you know, when I first met Tony in 1991, I believe it was, Tony had like 400 people in the seats. He wasn't the iconic Tony Robbins that you see now. But I identified with him. Tony and I are around the same age. You know, we both have high energy. I didn't really get around Tony to learn what he had to teach. I went around Tony because I wanted to learn how he built his business.
Right.
And so I went to one of his seminars, and then he asked me to train him in the gym. And I coached some of his clients. I taught all the health and fitness at his life mastery programs. But I was like the Trojan horse. I was behind the scenes learning how do you sell out seminars, and how do you put people in the seats, and how do you market yourself and build your profile and those things. Because I had already been studying personal development for so long, that part I kind of had down. It was the rest of it. And as soon as, you know, after 5 years of working with Tony, when I left working with him, my business went through the roof, because now I had more specific strategies on how to build my business.
Right. Excellent. Okay. And so I know that you have you've been around the world teaching teaching the things that you teach, and I wanted to find out, I guess, some of the memories or some of the experiences of connecting with, you know, real life people that have really resonated with you, for the better or worse.
Sure. Well, there is no worse.
That's good.
But like there's a gentleman that I'm working with this year that we met at our Find Your Fire retreat that my wife and I teach. We give a couple times a year, and his mom had written me a few months earlier saying, hey, my son's got very aggressive Tourette syndrome. He's really at the end of his rope. He's almost suicidal, blah, blah, blah. Can you help him? I said, ma'am, I've never really worked with people with Tourette syndrome, but I can certainly help him. Well, he came to the Find Your Fire retreat in November, made a decision, came on board to coach with me, and within 4 months has no Tourette syndrome anymore. And not only that, he's got a big promotion with his job. He's got a partner of his dreams. He's, just his whole holistic life has expanded. There's a gentleman that we just saw in Melbourne 2 weeks ago when we were down there. Fitness trainer, great shape, all that stuff, and a few years ago, called me up, said I got cancer, and coached him through that. Now he has no cancer anymore. Every couple that I've worked with who want to have kids that says it's impossible, all have children now. So, it's not me, obviously. It's them. I just teach them how to do it because it's based in a formula, not my formula. It's the formula. It's based in the science of life, nature, physics, cause and effect. Put in certain actions, you get certain results. And so, over and over and over, and I see that it works for everybody who puts it into action. It's not biased. It's not prejudiced. It's not about special or lucky people. Everybody has equal potential. Not everybody will do it, but for the people who will do it, the results are guaranteed. And that's what I love about it. And that's why I love what I teach, is because I only want to teach things that work for everybody all the time, no exceptions, not luck or should work. Hopefully it will work. It definitely works. And that's why, over and over again, I get shown that I have more and more references to keep backing it up that it works for everybody. And I'm always in awe of myself. But, you see Adrian, this young man who had the Tourette syndrome, how dramatically different his life is it's not even a year yet. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like you look at him, he doesn't look like the same guy. I mean, next week we're doing a show for Channel 7 in which they're interviewing him as well. But when they see the footage of him when he had it to when he didn't, literally a week apart, you go, that's not even the same guy. That's how different he looks.
Yeah. That's incredible. Yeah. And I guess that what greater driver to keep you doing what you do, to see results like that.
Yeah, and Erin, when she's, because she knows Adrian really well, when she saw the footage the week when it stopped, and by the way, that a couple of days before I said, we're done, man. I figured out the code. We're done. It's over, man. And he's like, this is the worst week ever. I go, no, it's trying to dig its heels in. It's trying to justify its existence. It's about to let go. And sure enough, he called me like 3 days later saying, I don't have any twitches anymore. It's gone. And Erin saw the video because we do it on Zoom where we could see, and she cried. She said, that's a miracle to see that. That's a miracle. And I said, that's what we do every day, honey. And I'm not complacent about it. I'm still in awe of myself. It's just that I raise my expectations. I mean, there's a woman I worked with a number of years ago that I got all these emails coming to my office in those days from a bunch of different people. And my staff was saying, hey, Kurek, all these people are asking about this one person. Well, when I looked at the emails, I noticed the email address was the same. It was a woman who was a schizophrenic with 7 personalities. Oh, wow. And so I said, look, I can only deal with her. Thanks for asking for help, but I got to work directly with her because it's the client-coach relationship thing, And so she called me. My staff said, hey, she's on the phone. What are you going to do? And I said, I don't know, but I'm not coming out of my office until she's one harmonized human being. And 5.5 hours later, I came out of my office and she's one person now. And for years, she kept coming to our events in New Zealand and staffing. She's got a job and friends and a relationship. One person from 7 diagnosed personalities to 1. Wow. And so I think I have the best job on the planet because I get to watch people live their dreams.
Absolutely. And And I guess your reach as well, you know, doesn't have any age bounds. You know, you see obviously the young guy you were speaking to, and then you've got, you know, people established and international business people that, you know, Forbes 500 kind of caliber that can still benefit. So it's really incredible.
A 6-year-old boy who found his dad after he committed suicide. He was blamed himself. He was an introvert, whatever. You know, he came to my program. He participated in the whole 2-day program, firewalked with me. Man, now he's go-kart racing. He's, you know, dancing. He's, you know, he's got a whole different life. Now it's, let's see, that would be like 2003. So, you know, here it is all these years later. Now he's a young man, you know. But his mom said, thank you for giving my son back, you know, because he was gone for, you know, after what he went through. I've had 70-year-old people, 85-year-old people, you know, go, oh my God, I'm going to live my life at another level. It's just, you know, it's dramatic. And then, you know, I've worked with people from one company in the States that have like 65,000 employees. So it's a major, major company. And it turns out that his son, his 2-year-old son, died at a basketball game by falling through the grandstands, you know, and fell to his death. And for all this time, he was hanging on to that anger over what happened. And again, so here he is running a big billion-dollar company, but in, you know, his personal life was really in tragedy. And again, worked with him and turned it around. So now he's successful there and successful in happiness and the rest of those things. So it doesn't really matter. We all go through our stuff. Everybody has fear. Everybody has doubt. Everybody's got insecurities. Everybody's got challenges. The successful people, we learn how to manage it differently.
Absolutely. Yeah. And another thing with what you teach as well is that it's very holistic. Like it's not about success measured on money or success measured on, you know, what you have. It's looking at the spiritual, it's looking at your relationships and everything like that. And I guess I wanted to ask you why you think it is important to hone in on all of these individual areas of life and make sure that they're all functioning as best as they can.
Well, I mean, what's the point of being rich if you're sick?
Yeah.
Or what's the point of being wealthy if you're lonely? But also, what's the point of having a relationship but you're broke? I mean, the thing is that the number one reason relationships break up is money issues. And the number one reason people are stressed out is money issues. So it's not about having money, but it's not just about having money, because money won't buy you happiness, but poverty will definitely buy you pain. So it's about having a holistic life, you know? So Aaron and I, you know, we have the most amazing relationship, and we have the most experiential, loving time with our kids. We spend a lot of time with our kids because your kids spell love T-I-M-E. They want your time. So we give it to them. You know, luckily we're in a spot where we can. But we weren't always in that financial position when we got together. You know, we were counting change for school lunches sometimes because, you know, we're starting off together in business and the rest of those things. But we said, if we enjoy our lives now and we work at being successful in business, well, then when we succeed in business, we'll be happy. But if you don't learn how to be happy now, you definitely won't be happy then. So it's about building it. But if your brain links up happiness with success, you'll get more and more and more successful because your brain's wired to move you towards what you perceive to be pleasurable, and it starts expanding. So it's about having a holistic life. So you have all of your areas covered, but don't just, you know, there's a lot of kumbaya, tree hugging ideas, which, oh God, I'm spiritual and all this stuff. Yeah, but you're broke. That's not spiritual to be broke. And by the way, that was Wayne Dyer who pointed it out to me one day because I was hanging out, I was at one of Wayne's presentations. I had met him a couple times, and he came up to me and he said, hey, Kurek, congratulations, you're starting to sell out events and all the rest of the stuff, and people are raving about your speaking. But I hear you talk about this, you're the spiritual guy, not the money-making guy. I go, yeah, I don't really need money. I just want to be spiritual. He goes, where did you learn that in order to be spiritual, you got to be poor? Where did you learn that? He goes, don't say the Bible because you never read the Bible, and I have, and it's not even in there. And I said, well, what about, he goes, no, it's not money is the root of all evil. It's the love of money. That's the quote. See, people want to miss that part. It's the greed of money, but not money. And so he said, do you think I'm spiritual? And I said, well, you're Wayne Dyer. And he goes, do you think I'm wealthy? As I'm looking at 25 of his best-selling books and audio programs on his stuff. I said, I'm guessing you make some money. He goes, you get my point? I said, yes, sir. And he said, if you don't allow yourself to have it, what are you teaching other people? That they got to stay poor too? He goes, but when you're wealthy and you're genuine and you're spiritual and you're loving, you're giving other people permission that they can have it all as well. So you're teaching an inappropriate lesson, Kurek. You need to change that. And instantly it was a game changer for me.
Yeah. It's incredible how these little switches get flicked on along the way, isn't it? And yeah, the people that you come across. So I imagine you've probably spent time with some pretty amazing people in your career.
I've spent time with a lot of famous people, if you mean that, but not all of them are amazing. Okay. But also, I've met a lot of amazing people who are just like you and me, everyday people.
Absolutely.
I mean, last year I was on stage with, I was booked to speak on stage with Arnold Schwarzenegger in Sydney. And so it got back to the States, and I got a text message from Sylvester Stallone saying, come join me for lunch on Saturday, because I've known Sly since I was 18 years old. Mm-hmm. And I worked in the movie Lock with him. But, I've known Sly for a long time. And so he invited me to lunch, which, by the way, when I lived in LA, that was like a regular weekly, multiple times a week, we'd all get together for lunch and dinners, and I played polo at his farm and the rest of the stuff with him. But, here it is all these years later. And, I'm always in awe, Sylvester Stallone. And he said, what are you doing tomorrow? And I said, I don't know what. And he goes, Super Bowl, my house. I'm like, yeah, nice. And then next Saturday, got together with him for lunch again before I headed back to Australia. And in walks Arnold Schwarzenegger. So now I'm sitting at the table with Arnold one side and Sly across the table. And there's only like 8 people sitting there. And Arnold is one of the most wonderful, present, focused on you type people I've ever met. It's actually off-putting. He's so present with you. It's like shocking how into what you have to talk about he is. And then so when it came time to being in Sydney with him, man, he gave me a big hug and, hey, Kurek, this guy's everywhere. And, so I had 2 of his cigars, his favorite cigars, waiting for him. And he said, how'd you know what cigars? And I said, called Sly, and he goes, nice move, Kurek, well played. But they're people. They're just people who've followed their dreams. And that's why I love hanging out with people like that, because I've always used them as inspirations for myself, that if they can do it, I can do it. How did they do it? Follow the steps, get the same result. There's cause and effect.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so what was it that brought you to Australia after, growing up and living in the States?
Well, I was coaching and doing speaking engagements, and somebody asked me to come out and save their business. They said they sold children's educational products. So I thought, hey, that's a good cause and whatever. Well, it turns out they sold Collier's encyclopedias door to door. They, owned a business that did that. And so I came out, I saved their business, but they wound up not paying me and left me homeless here in Australia. So I was homeless in 2 countries at the same time. I couldn't even fly home to be homeless. And so I decided to turn on the engines and do what I teach myself. And, was doing free seminars to promote a paid seminar that was going to give me enough money to get home. At one of those free seminars was Natalie Cooke, bronze medalist from the 96 Atlanta Olympics for beach volleyball, and asked me to work with her. And I took her and Carrie Potthurst to win the gold medals at the Sydney 2000 Olympics, and basically became a hometown boy, fell in love with the country, and have been here ever since.
Okay, wonderful. I hear that Natalie actually called you out at that particular event that you first met. Is that right? You tell us about that.
Yeah, well, that's only because, and again, it's funny how the universe gives you what you need when you need it. For some reason, I still to this day don't know why. I said something for the first time I've ever said it, and that is, who here remembers the person who stands on the 3rd box at the Olympics? I mean, everybody rush out to buy your book thinking, oh, gee, how'd you get 3rd? Anyways, the end of the program, girl walks up. She goes, hi, how are you? And I said, I'm fine. How are you? And she goes, I was on the 3rd box at the Olympics. look, ma'am, I'm sorry. I didn't even know you were here. I wasn't picking on you. She goes, no, the reason I'm upset is everything you said was true. Here I'm third best in the world. There's no endorsement deals. You get no book deal, no commercials, nothing. She said, will you take me to win gold medals at the Olympics? I know you have the skills and tools I need. Will you train me? And I said, yes, ma'am. And so for the next 2.5 years, I worked with her and Carrie. And September 25th, 2000 at Bondi Beach, we beat the best team in the world, the Brazilians, and won the gold medals.
Yeah, and you remember the exact date. That must be burned into your memory. Tell me what that moment felt like for you.
I sobbed. I cried. I thought I was going to have a heart attack every point, only because the game went like 2.5 hours. It was like a battle royal. It was like a gladiator fight. And, it's all riding right on this, but it was also, being there 100% present, like, man, I'm at the Olympics, even no matter what, I'm still a part of this moment. And then when we won, it's just that, crescendo of emotion. And, I burst into tears. And then all of a sudden, Natalie grabs the microphone and goes, ladies and gentlemen, our success coach, Kurek Ashley, who gave us the brains to win. And like, that's the Firewalker, let him down, let him down. So I went onto the sand and got pictures and all this stuff. And, it was a big deal. But here it is, 18 years later, it's still a big deal because for all of us involved, it was all of our gold medal because we all had to face ourselves and our own fears and our own limiting beliefs and work on that to finally get to a result. But that's a trophy, that gold medal. The gold experience you can't take from any one of us, so we can all have that. You can always make your life golden by making every moment as golden as you can, by living to the fullest. The scoreboard is really for the fans, the people in the stadium. The experience is for the athlete, and it's not about whether you win or lose the game. It's about how did you show up and how did you play? And that's life. And so for me, it's about, that if I can do this, I can do anything. And we all have those references. By the way, you don't have to have gold medals at the Olympics. But we just saw Carrie at one of my events in Sydney last week. And I said, Carrie, did you bring your medal? And she's like, no, why would I? See, it's a medal. And I said, one day, you won't be carrying it anymore. It's not as big a deal as you think it is. It's a big deal here, but you don't carry the medal around in your pocket anymore,
That's it.
And she said, you taught me that, Kurek. And I'm like, no, just checking, just. But man, she's, her and Carrie are Hall of Famers, Volleyball Hall of Fame, Australian Order of Merit, multimillionaires, best-selling authors, have the partner and the children of their dreams, everything that they dreamed about they have, and they have gold medals, which is a nice trophy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's incredible. And all because you decided randomly to throw that comment out there. And it's really incredible how the universe works. So
there are no accidents.
Yeah. So you did mention firewalking. I was going to lead into that. So you've given me a bit of an in there. Obviously, yes, you are quite renowned, I guess, for the firewalking aspect of your teaching.
The longest in history, 81 meters.
And a record holder to boot, absolutely. So, I guess take me to that. Take me to the record attempt and success. What was it that prompted that for you?
The record was done because I used it as a promotional tour to promote a workshop I was doing. That was that one I was going to make enough money with to leave. And I thought it would be a good media thing. Then, after doing an 18-hour-long seminar day and then taking 1,200 people firewalking across the coals, now I had to break the world's record. And I had the worst migraine headache ever. I was dehydrated. I hadn't eaten in a few days. I was exhausted. And I was just about to quit. And I said, Kurek, that's what this is all about, man, to teach people when you got nothing left in the tank, when you think you're on empty, you have reserves in abundance. And I said, let's turn it on. And I said, lay down 50 more feet. And they're like, what? And I go, just do it. Well, they lay down 66 feet because originally it was 200 feet. Now it's 266 feet, which turns out to be 81 meters. And I did it and walked. We had CNN there and all the media outlets and everything. And again, it was just about learning how to hold your focus longer. Because in life, we have so much input. so much things that can take you off your game or distract your focus. And it's just about holding your focus longer. But I've taken tens of thousands of people firewalking safely. My wife, my mom, my 12-year-old daughter just firewalked with us the last time at the retreat. Kids and paraplegics on their hands, where you hold them up like a wheelbarrow, so they can walk. But it's a metaphor for what you think is impossible isn't. Here you have 600 degrees searing hot coals in front of you. Your brain goes, that's impossible. I can't do it. But once you make it across, there's no damage. There's no pain. You made it. Your brain goes, wait a minute. If I can do that I thought was impossible, what else have I been telling myself is impossible? It's been holding me back. So for the rest of your life, you have this reference. And if I can do this, I can do anything. And that's what happens. It gives you that moment of making a decision again later on in life to keep moving forward.
Absolutely. That's incredible. And you mentioned, some younger people and obviously people of all ages. Do you know how old the oldest person is that you've taken across on a firewalk?
Well, I know of a 75-year-old person. I also took an 80-year-old person glass walking, where they walked across broken glass with me.
Oh,
but it does, the age thing, the age is a man-made creation, so that doesn't really matter. It's the creator made his children first so that we can master it, not surrender it, because you become that dirty word known as an adult. It's to become a wiser child, so you gather wisdom, but you still have that childlike view of life, where you wake up every day and you're acting like it's your first day, and it's like it's going to be your last day. Because if it's your first day, you're going to have awe and wonder. And if it's your last day, you're going to have appreciation and gratitude. And if you keep living your life with those components, every day is magical. Because, every morning you're born, and every night when you go to sleep, you die. So what do you want to do with your life today? I don't know if 80 is more of a story.
Yeah.
That just spent more time circling the sun. That's all it really means. But it's how do you live your life?
Wonderful. That's incredible. And so you are already on tour this year, Become the Unstoppable You tour. Tell me more about how that's unfolding for you and what the rest of 2018 holds.
Well, we only have, I think, I'm just looking at the calendar. We have Auckland and Wellington left in the tour for the Become the Unstoppable You, but in 3 weeks, from the 7th of September to the 10th of September, we have the Find Your Fire retreat on Stradbroke Island, where everybody does a 4-day residential program with Aaron and I. And your ticket price includes your accommodation, your meals, everything. So all you got to do is come to the program. And it's holistic again. It's working on the complete you. And then at the end of the program, we take everybody firewalking. Now, you don't have to firewalk, but you will, because you see everybody else doing it, you're going, you know what? I just want to see what that feels like.
Yeah.
And, nobody's talking you into it. Nobody's, pressuring. If you don't want to walk, don't walk. You don't have to walk. It's not even what the program's about, actually. It's about finding your fire. But, we've had people standing on the side watching everybody else, and they go, no, I'm doing this. And they get in line, and it's a game changer for them. And so I'm not sure if that's the last retreat we have this year. But and then I have corporates, but I also have my coaching group called the Success Inner Circle, so that we do regularly and those things. So, and I'm writing a new book. So there's always something on in the life of Kurek Ashley.
Absolutely.
And then we're getting ready to do a TV show next week for Channel 7, but also we're working on creating my own TV show. So we have a lot on right now.
Absolutely. And so, in that elusive free time, what do you do, I guess, for relaxation and, and to do with the kids?
Oh, every day we spend, Aaron and I wrestle who gets to take the kids to school and who gets to pick them up. And we love doing that. And every day we spend quality time with the kids, and abundance of it. We have a 14-acre farm on the Sunshine Coast. So we have amazing views, have a big lake. Aaron and I enjoy a cup of coffee on the deck every morning together and just enjoy being together. Look, she's young and beautiful. I don't know if when she's 80, she's going to be young and beautiful, but I don't know if she's going to be the same young and beautiful as she is now. And by the way, when she's 80, I'll be like 208. So we enjoy our relationship now. We enjoy our kids now. Aaron does yoga every day. I do Aikido 4 times a week. So we live our life right now. It sounds busy, but we designed our life so that we can be successful while living within what's most important to us, which is time with our kids, time with each other, time for ourselves, all that stuff. That just makes us more efficient, more effective in the time we have available to do business or success, whatever you want to talk about. But I'm not going to sacrifice in order to be successful, because sacrifice means to kill. So we want this and that, not this or that. That's abundance, this and that. This or that is scarcity.
Yeah, absolutely. That's incredible. And so just, I guess if you wanted to leave, you've given us so many, gems and pearls of wisdom throughout this conversation. But if you were to leave, I guess, a message for anyone watching, what would be the key takeaway for, how to step out from some of their biggest challenges and to move on to create a better future for themselves?
Well, I would assume that anybody, watching and listening to your program is a good person, because that makes sense that an evil person or a bad person would be into personal growth. So I'm going to assume everybody's a good person. Well, as a good person, if somebody lent you a car, a really nice car, BMW, Ferrari, Mercedes-Benz, that I would assume that when they asked back for their car, everybody on the call would probably give them back their car in the same shape, if not better than it was given to you, right? Well, this is the vehicle that your creator gave you to transport your soul through adventure, through life. So when you're asked back for it, make sure it's in the same shape, if not better than the way it was given to you. And remember that all your dreams come true when you make the decision to make them come true. And, get help. Nobody who succeeds does it alone. Find a coach, find somebody to hold you accountable, find somebody to help you with the proper mindset and develop new skill sets. Because if you're able to do it by yourself, you would have already done it. But whoever succeeds in life, if you watch Arnold Schwarzenegger's interview on the internet where he's at a commencement speech for a university, he says, everybody thinks I'm a self-made man, but there's nothing farther from the truth. He said, I've had help all the way, and I wouldn't be who I am without getting help. So, if it's not me who can help you, then find somebody immediately. Don't let your dreams get on the, back burner, and then one day you look back and you go, man, I should listen to that bald, crazy American guy, because I'd be way farther ahead in life. I wouldn't have so much regret. And for everybody on the calls, on my website, we have a program called Get Out of Your Bad Mood, which is about any mood that doesn't support your happiness or success, I deem as a bad mood. So it's about managing how you think and feel differently than you are right now. Because if you feel better, you're going to think better, you're going to act better, and that's going to produce better results. It's a free course. It's a real course. It's not a sales pitch. All you got to do is go to kurekashley.com and you'll see 10-day free course. Sign up for it. It doesn't work by itself, though. You actually have to do it. And it's a game changer. But if you read the comments, by far the best comments I've ever read on a program, people go, I can't even believe you're giving this away. The first video changed my life, let alone the rest of the program. So take the action, get the result. Excellent. And that's the key thing, isn't it? Taking the action, not just sitting by and letting life pass you by. Well, knowledge, the world's full of educated derelicts. Most people know what to do. They're just not doing what they know. It's in the doing that we develop, not the knowing. Yeah, absolutely. That's very true words. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Kurek. It's been amazing. And thank you guys for coming along to check it out as well. Make sure you like and subscribe, because we'll be trying to flesh some more awesome people like Kurek out of the woodwork and bring you their stories as well. So thank you so much. Thanks for having me. And if anytime you want me back, I'd be honored. Wonderful. Thank you.